Hey Crusaders, today we are visiting Pope Lick Park. Pope Lick Park is one of the parklands of Floyd's Fork parks. It's kind of like Broad Run Park and Turkey Run Park that we've already visited. There are trails, and some are hiking trails, some are biking trails, and there's the Louisville Loop. As you enter the parking lot, you'll see the community center building. You will also see some soccer fields, and not too far from the parking area will be lots of signs for directions on which way to go. You can either take the Louisville Loop or the fitness circle from this spot. Here's an image of that fork in the road that you'll have to choose between. We are going to cover a little bit of both of these today, but we'll start with the Louisville Loop north section. One of the things I like about this section of the loop is there are lots of opportunities to practice crosswalk signs in a very safe environment. So for example, this is a place where you cross the road, but the road is just actually the entrance to the parking lot. So it doesn't have a lot of traffic, there are speed bumps, and everyone is usually paying a lot of attention to the fact that there are pedestrians crossing there often. As always, when we go out on the trail, you want to make sure you take your buddy along with you and your reusable water bottle. It's also that time of year where the weather can seemingly be really cool in the morning, but then feel very warm when you're out on the trail, so you want to dress in layers so that you can kind of take off an outer shirt if you need to cool down, or put on an extra layer if you're feeling chilly. Up a little ways, the trail meets the park entrance road, and you will cross the bridge here. It does become a little bit more narrow along the sidewalk here, but it's still pretty easy to navigate. Just up from the bridge, there is another opportunity to practice at a crosswalk. So you'll see a yellow sign letting you know that you need to stop and watch for cars here. You'll see the white paint on the road to denote where you should stay in the crosswalk. And then just past that, you'll see our Louisville Loop trail rules posted, as we usually see a sign of those every time we go out on the loop. As you walk up the park entrance road, you will not go too very far before you see another crosswalk. And at this one, you actually cross the park entrance road again, and you go down by Floyd's Fork to a little area where you go underneath Taylorsville Road, so you can safely get to the other side of the road without going across Taylorsville Road, which is really, really busy. In this area of the trail, cyclists are encouraged to get off their bike here and walk through this section for the safety of all the people using the trail. I know it may seem like a little excessive, but here we have another opportunity to practice at a crosswalk. So we see the stop sign and the white paint on the road, and if you go to the other side of the trail at this point, you're around mile 68.8, and you're pretty much right at the train trestle. This train trestle is still in use, and I was kind of hoping that I'd get to video a train going across for you, but we heard the train when we were on our way, but we were just a little bit too slow to get there. So instead, we got to see this beautiful memorial that's decorated for Halloween for this young girl named Savannah, and we checked the weather again to make sure we were still good and continued our journey. We were careful when we went underneath the bridge at Taylorsville Road that we were watching for bikers who may be coming through that area of the Louisville Loop, but we took a moment to also look at the water flowing through the creek, to look at the flowers and the clouds. It was a very beautiful day, and as we were walking along, we saw a little picnic area that you could sit at, and they actually had a wheelchair accessible picnic table too in this spot. That'd be a nice place to come have a picnic or eat some carry out outside. You could see the flowers are starting to die. I took some pictures of some that are still holding on, but some, especially those cone flowers that were dried up. The late goldenrod flower is still very beautiful. So you'll see lots of these flowers on your hike in the parklands this time of year. And then we were back at the parking lot. So if you decide instead that you don't want to practice your crosswalks today and go on the Louisville Loop, but you'd rather go in an area that there's no cyclists, I would suggest at this point going on the fitness circle. It's a nice path and it takes you to some other areas of the park. For example, on about halfway through the fitness cycle, you'll see a sign for the Prairie Preserve Trail. And this trail is really easy, but it's gravel instead of pavement. So it might give you a little different sensory experience if you're going along here. And I actually recorded some sounds for you of me walking, so you can listen to those now. Kind of sounds crunchy with the gravel below my feet. This was a beautiful day, so I was happy to get out and explore a little extra area of the park. So I decided to take a picture of the sign showing you could go back towards the Poplick Trailhead, or you could always turn around and go back the way you came. I chose to go to the Poplick Trailhead this way, following the Louisville Loop. I got to see a few other modes of transportation. There was a roller skater and another bike, and there was someone walking their dog. So lots of different ways to get around on the Louisville Loop. So you have options if you go to Poplick Park. If you want to do the fitness circle, it's 7/10 of a mile. If you want to do sections of the Louisville Loop, you can follow the mile markers to track how much you're doing there. And that brings us back to the parking lot area. Thanks so much for joining me on our hike.